Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Kimberly Ann. I'm the founder and CEO of Lahontan Gold Corp. We have assets in the Walker Lane of Nevada, #1 jurisdiction in the world. Here's our capital structure, 206 million shares outstanding. We're about a 12 million market cap company. Our key shareholders are ASA, APAC, Palos, Extract, and Goodman. About 30% of that makeup is U.S. shareholders. We have a nice institutional following, and that's continuing to grow. Our management board has shrunk a bit. We've just released one of our board members due to personal reasons, but we will be seeing throughout the next 6 months, we're going to be adding in some more technical people to our board because we're going to be building a mine in 2026, and it's going to be helpful for the company. Okay, so this company is really focused on the Santa Fe asset. It's a past producer from 1988 to 1994. It was successfully mined by Corona Gold. Heap leach operation, about 400,000 ounces of gold, 700,000 ounces of silver. This asset was fantastic back then, making money, and $340 gold. Yes, it shut down because of economics, and then it got handed off to Homestake, Barrick, etc. We were fortunate enough to have this in our pool of projects to play with. The West Santa Fe asset, however, is a pretty exciting project that we picked up last year. We're looking at this asset to be a satellite operation to Santa Fe. It's 13 kilometers away. It's a lookalike, and we see a multi-million ounce deposit here. But that being said, even if we find 500,000 ounces, it's measurable to the company because we'll be mining at very low cost here. We'll be sharing admin sites and heap leaching and loading carbon and shipping it 13 whole kilometers away across the valley. Moho is a high-grade gold vein system. I love this asset. I had this in my private company. We're the only ones that have drilled this to date. It was a mine back in the 30s, very high-grade gold and silver, 25 grams gold, 300 to 600 silver. It's a multi-vein system that we were hoping to get back to next year once we get our Santa Fe project back heading to the production stage. Redlich is a exploration project, silver focused. That's right next door to the Candelaria open pit. Beautiful project. Still haven't had time to work on this. Looking for a partner on this because someone needs to play with this asset if we don't have time to. So Walker Lane, very active district. You can see the little town of Hawthorne next to the big star where our Santa Fe operation is. It's an awesome spot for us. We have the largest warehouse that holds all our core and admin team, etc. It's only 13 kilometers away from Santa Fe proper, so when we're drilling, it's an awesome turnaround time. Nevada and Utah now are tied for the #1 jurisdiction in the world. I love that part because I've worked in many places in the world, and it's nice to be able to get a drill permit in 2 weeks' timeline. We just put out our resource numbers updated last week. We did a 20% increase on our numbers of 1.95 million ounces, so it's continuing to grow, and that was really important for us because this is going into our PEA that we'll have out in the next 3 to 4 weeks, which will put all the economics around this for our mine plan permit. We can drill year-round here, so that's fantastic, and we have great infrastructure in place because of the past producing mine. So just a little geology here. All 5 known deposits on the property are Triassic calcareous host rocks, all holding gold and silver mineralization. It's really key is the structures. When the structures collide, you see lots of high-grade gold and silver underneath these systems. For example, or at Santa Fe pit, we see up to hundreds of grams of gold with visible gold in it underneath these pits. So yes, that is in sulfide, but for the future of this project, it's really telling you there's a big heat engine to this project. Here's the breakdown of our 20% increase in our resource, 1.54 in indicated, 0.41 in inferred. Still fantastic grade, 0.93 gold EQ. So you can see in the slab calvata all those yellows and reds. That's becoming one big massive pit and continuing to grow. We call this area the low-hanging fruit of the project because it starts at the surface. It goes down to about 350 meters that we know of. It's still all in oxide, so still lots more here to be found. And this really tells you a lot. This is our Santa Fe pit. It's been sitting there over 30 years, 50-degree pit walls, no water in the bottom, well above the water table. All that beautiful orange rocks is oxide. We're just continuing to figure out how far we can lay this back and how deep we can go here. So it's not rocket science. We're just going through the steps to put it back into production. The chart is kind of really interesting. We just put this in last week because we're heading towards production in a short timeline. We wanted to see how our grade lines up with our active mines in Nevada that are open pit. And, we're really happy to report that our oxide 0.64 is fantastic right next to our friend's gold bar at 1 gram rock. This is a side view of the slab Calvada model. You can see the red line. It's our pit constraint model for our resource. It's well above all those other block models below. That's because we had to do this model at 1950 gold. We do that because it's a trailing 3-year average from in the rears. But as you can see here, we will be mining all that rock below, so this pit is going to continue to grow as gold prices are so high right now. The model will change dramatically. This is what it looks like on the ground. It's the most beautiful place to go because there's no people, there's no indigenous people that we have to worry about because it's just not, livable. It's not livable for anyone. But you do see road access, the Santa Fe pit in the background, the power line that goes to the substation that was actually put in for the mine back in the day when it was in production. And then that big pit that you were seeing in the yellow, block model, the yellows and reds, is all that slab Calvada complex that's continuing to grow off this page right here. Back in the day when it was mined from 1988 to 1994, I think they did a great job of mining 356,000 ounces of gold and 784,000 ounces of silver. The recoveries were 74.4% for gold and 29% for silver. They did a half-inch crush. We will be doing a half-inch crush as well, but we're continuing to, through our network, figure out ways to optimize the recoveries. But this picture is pretty cool. You can see where the admin and the just up in the left-hand corner where the admin site was, the substation, which is still there. Them just starting their first bench at the Santa Fe pit. So it's pretty cool to see the history of this project. This is what the slab Calvada complex looks like right now. You can see all those weird little, I call them pitlets because they're so small. The reason why they're so small is it was mined at the end of mine life when gold was $340. They're just looking for the next bench, but huge opportunity for us because it all starts at the surface. And this is just what we're doing for the future here, standard 2-stage crush, carbon loaded, and conveyor belt stacked, etc. This is our flow sheet that will be going into our PEA. So we're well through this process for our PEA that we're building. It's going to be engineering heavy because it is going to our mine plan permit, which is needed. So let's talk about permitting for a minute. We've been working on our permitting since early 2023. That requires 5 different growing seasons, which takes a lot of time, a couple years worth of waiting for flowers and everything else to grow to, make sure our impact is good. Everything you see in yellow, 12.2 square kilometers, is what we're currently permitting. The rest of the land we didn't have when we started this permit, but we will be doing a permit expansion permit immediately once we get this permit in hand for that land. Below you see in the left-hand corner, it's the mine plan of operation that is running in parallel with the plan of operations. What's important about this is we're staying within the footprint that we're doing the plan of operations. Why? Because all those growing seasons are required for both. So that's very helpful for us. We're also staying under the 640-acre amount of space on our project, so we can do an EA versus EIS, which cuts the timeline for a permit with 6 months. So that's extraordinary for the company. So here's where we are, line 2, year 2. Lahontan has gotten all the studies into the BLM. They've been reviewing them currently. We expect to have this permit in hand by the approval from the BLM by the end of this year. And then they'd go through the comments for NEPA. So we should have it fully permitted with the plan of operations in Q2 of next year. Now, what's important about this is it allows us to drill out the entire project up to 700 drill pads, so lots of room to expand this project out because this is just the beginning of how big this project's going to be for the future. The mine plan of operations is running in parallel, as I said. Once we have our PEA out to the public, all the engineering work will go into this document, which will allow us to finalize all of our information for them to get that into them. And then we look to build this in 2026, and because it's a heap leach operation, short build-out timeline, we're looking right now at contract mining. It's low risk for the company, low capex for the company, et cetera. So with Santa Fe, just to give you a bird's eye view here, it's gorgeous. All the colorizations you see there is all oxide mineralization. The map in the corner, you can see how close it is, proximity, great road access. It takes 10 minutes to literally drive between the two sites. I wanted this because it was a way for us to build oxide ounces organically through the drill bit at a project level. We paid $1.8 million over a 7-year option agreement, back end loaded. So that means the first year we paid $25,000, next year we paid $35,000, and so on. The big heavy payments are late into the 7 years. But what this allows us to do is spend time on the ground drilling this project to verify what we think is there. And what's interesting about this project was it was also mined in the 30s for silver. So lots of silver in the system that we need to do some work on. But just our rock tip sample mapping and sampling we've been doing to head towards our drill program, we're seeing very nice results at 2.61 gold, 900 silver, so we really need to start understanding the silver part of this system. There's also a nice flat area that we extended this land package to 19 square kilometers so that we could build heap leach pads here. So when we were looking at this project, we took all the data known on the project. You can see the drilling was shallow. Old data, that always tells me it's old data when it's shallow holes, because back in the day, nobody thought about drilling angle holes. But there's 171 drill holes here, about 13,000 meters of drilling. And just in this envelope here, there's about 300 to 400,000 ounces that we have in our internal model. And it's all oxide starts at the surface. So as you can see, this can be very measurable to our project over at Santa Fe because, again, even if we found 500,000 ounces here, we would be bolting on about 50,000 ounces a year for our production. So that's a great part about this asset. So catalyst going forward right now, we'll have our PEA out in the next 3 to 4 weeks. We'll be putting out some updated information on our progress on the permitting. And then at West Santa Fe, we're going to get the drill bit back out there, drill out there probably later this year. And then people are going to really understand that we're going to be focused on building out this project in very near term. Thank you.